So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Roseanne Hanson. This is our final around the world in 80 trees. But let's not say our final around the world, because I think we're going to do some more. This has been so fun and so popular. So we'll decide what we want to do. If those of you who are here, pop into the chat where you're from, where you're dialing in from, and also how many trees workshops have you attended live or done, or go ahead, how many total? How many have done all 8, which means 80? That'll be fun. So we've got Morro Bay, Virginia. Ooh, can we do flowers? Haha, that's fun. Toronto, yay, Canada, Oregon, Louisiana, yay, Cindy. Indiana, ooh, 7 live, well done. 8 of 10, excellent. 6, oh, how fun. 5, gosh, oh, wait, who just said all? Yay, Betsy. Woohoo. Okay, nice. Flagstaff, hi, Sue. You're up where it's nice and cool. Oh, nice. Hi, Jeannie. Yay, 8 for Jeannie. And so those of you who are going to be, I'm featuring your pages today. I've got Anne Marie, Jeannie Hahn, Judy Doyle, Cindy, Jill Feldkamp. Let's see, I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. I'll be calling on you, Sue, right? If you can, when I get to your page, I'd love for you to just sort of talk us through the features of your tree while we all sketch. Normally I do that, but if you don't want to do it, that's fine. You don't even have to come on camera. We can just hear your voice. In fact, I probably can't do your cameras because I'm going to be showing my sketches. But that would be fun. So when it comes to your time, I'll ask if you can, great. If not, we also, I have them written down. I'll be showing them or featuring them for you. And just tell us why you chose that tree too, like, because I'm really loving them. They're so much fun. All right, we need to get going. So here we go. If you get a chance, make sure everybody's muted, please. And I think we all are. I'm just going to hit mute all. There we go. I didn't mute myself, did I? No. Okay. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to share screen. Okay, let's get going. Well, here we go. Ha! Our final episode of Around the World in 80 Trees. I'm Roseanne Hanson. Thank you for joining me. Those of you for number 8, 7, oh my goodness, thank you so much. The Exploring Overland Field Arts Institute and the Nature Journal Academy I run from my website, and my 2 books, Nature Journaling for a Wildlife and Master of Field Arts. So where are we starting? Well, we're actually starting where we left off last time. We're going to go back to the beautiful land of Hawaii, courtesy of Anne Marie Bergen. And here is the tree Anne Marie chose, the white plumeria, Plumeria opposinaceae. And I'll show you Anne Marie's page, which she did an accordion as well. And what we'll do, we'll come back to this as you want to take notes, but let's start with sketching. I'm going to leave this on the screen and go to sketching. And while we're sketching, since Anne Marie, you've already drawn this one, you can maybe tell us a little bit about it. I'm going to start sketching as we go, and we'll spend about 10, 15 minutes on this one and then move to the next one. Does that sound okay?
Thanks, Roseanne. Well, I have to say I had a bonus trip this February. A friend said she had room in the condo she rented, and off I went to Kauai, the southern part of Kauai, And the first thing I was struck with, and I think a lot because of this class, these sessions, Roseanne and everyone, was just like the trees. That's just immediately I was just shapes of trees, colors, textures. And this particular, the plumeria, stood out because it didn't have any leaves, or some of the leaves were just starting to come on. And I was just so struck by just the twigginess of it, the movement of it. And you can see, it's nothing straight. It's really kind of dynamic and moving. That's how it felt to me. And they were all over we were staying at the Kiahuna Plantation, which is an old established kind of resort, but old fashioned resort with just great plantings. And there are all these other huge trees, but these would stand out. And of course, the blossoms were coming out. So the flowers come out before the leaves come out. And so the fragrance, you can see one of the flowers, we keep bringing them in to where we were staying because the fragrance was incredible. But it was just so striking with all of the other highly vegetated, leafy trees, having these just sort of like pronounce themselves, they kind of
Yeah,
just stood out.
I wonder what the evolutionary reason behind that is. Do they put all their energy into those amazing flowers? How big are those flowers?
Let's see, I did 2 inches across, so in
Wow.
diameter. And yeah, that's a good question. Is it who pollinates them is out at a certain time? Is there I think about those kinds of things, or the energy it takes, flowers versus the leaves. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't really look it up any much more than this is cool. and,
Yeah. Oh, I
and
just
it's
love
there.
that. I like that you can see the branching so
Yeah.
much. It's hard to stop, right? Because we're just going to kind of get into the weeds on that. I noticed that the branching looks a lot like deer antlers.
Yes, very much. And I would say that my drawing is sparser. I've learned from you. You're not trying to get every piece of it, but you're trying to get the essence of
Yeah.
it. And as I'm looking, I'm like, oh, I could have put a lot more branches in my own drawing. What you can't see in this picture, but what you could see when you were up close to them, are right on the tips of those antler-like branches are the flowers. Those flowers they were starting to come out. And they didn't appear to last long once they opened up on the tree. Lots of them, and this is a highly gardened area. The guys are out with their leaf blowers and everything along.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So there's not a lot of debris left. It's always quite cleaned up, which is sort of interesting. If I wanted to collect anything, I had to run out when I saw it, seed pods and things.
Before someone cleaned it
Well,
up.
yeah, I was trying to look at some of these massive seed pods on some of the other trees, and before they would collect them, and so I didn't study it too much, but it just seemed like those flowers came out and boom, they were dropped pretty quickly.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
but this really, I did a what we've been doing, an accordion book of 8. I highlighted 8 trees, and I thought, oh, that's all I'm going to do. But I kind of got crazy with my nature journal, the rest of it.
So fun.
But this was a nice focus as I went around the island, or I did tons of walking around the area, and was introduced to a lot of really cool trees there. Many in bloom, many in bloom.
Oh, I have to write the name. I forgot to write the name of this. Okay, white plumeria. And so tell us a few facts from your list there.
Well, it produces the most popular lei flowers. So, when you think of leis, receiving a lei in Hawaii, or leis in general, it's one of the most popular. It has a very latexy sap. So like broken branches, anything, it's very latexy. Kind of reminds me a bit of figs, the fig kind of latex, sticky. Um, And the latex is not anything you want to ingest. So it is
Oh,
poison.
yeah. Oh,
And deciduous, as you can see, in winter, and then flowers, then leaves in spring.
nice.
Those are the main things.
Oop. Great. So I think we're going to throw in a little bit of color here. I'm going to just probably leave our main plumeria. Oh, you know what I could do? I'm just loving this water-soluble graphite. I could just leave it very black and white, or very, yeah, just no color really on this. And I'm just very lightly adding the water-soluble graphite, which is really fun for quickly going in and creating. You see, I just get a damp brush. Now I've got this is courtesy Patricia Lorenas shared this with me. She uses this a lot and does some really nice work. So we can get a little shape and shadow in there quickly.
And one addition, because I know we've done it in the past, they average about 20 feet tall.
Oh, right. I need to write that down. Thank you. So we've got about 20 feet. Thank you. Okay. And then, boy, just to kind of capture that beautiful, the yellow center, I'm just dropping clear water, and then I'm going to try to get some pure yellow here and drop that in. Let's see what happens. And then later I can go in, ooh, and make the centers even darker.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Okay, do they smell similar to gardenias at all?
Yes, they do.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, they do. They're cool.
So one of the things I'll want to add just a teeny bit of shadow. Not a lot, because I want to try to reserve that white. So I'm going to want a very, very blue. In fact, I'm going to use my pure indanthrone. Actually, I should get the whole thing wet. I want to give it that form.
That was my challenge, Roseanne, is I really don't have a strategy for this, for the shadow. And I was looking at some
challenging.
other paintings. I was looking at some other paintings. The person we rented from is an artist and had some of her paintings in there. So I was trying to look and see how she did it. And, I still, but it's like, okay, how do I do this? How do I show that shadowing? And it's a learning curve.
It is very much so. I'm not going to overdo it. In fact, that's kind of all I'm going to do for now. We'll see how it looks in a bit. Whether I'm going to change anything, add any more, because I'll be coming in and I want to darken just the centers. In fact, I'll do it with just pure. See, it's still damp. I'm just going to drop in pure magenta right there while it's damp. Oop, that's not damp enough. There, those were damp enough. Now I need to go in and feather these out a little bit. You see how you add magenta to the yellow and it instantly does the orangey thing. So nice. Lovely. Thank you so much, Anne Marie. That was fun. And I did forget I need to give us a little base here. So our tree's not floating in the ether. Oh, and that's about 2 inches, we said. Beautiful. Whoops, I can't wait to see that in person someday. All right, where are we going next? And who is our guest contributor? Oh, there's Anne Marie's. Let's look at that again. Beautiful. I love it. I just totally got the essence of this from your page, Anne Marie. And I like the way you did the branching. No, you didn't do every single branch, but you showed me the structure. I really, really like that a lot. And you got that kind of deer antler thing perfectly. Oh, I forgot to show the flowers on the end of the stem. So I want to do that. Very interesting that they do flower at the end of the branch, but the branches do keep growing. Okay, where are we next? We're back to North America and the South, and we have, brought to you by Cindy Chauvin, the bald cypress. Wow, what a crazy, crazy tree. Is that really amazing? Let's take a look. Cindy, if you're there, do you feel like telling us a little bit about this while we sketch?
Sure, I'd be glad to, certainly. All right, this is, I think, the largest bald cypress found in North America.
Wow.
And it's located in St. Francisville on Cat Island, Louisiana. If you're familiar with the shape of Louisiana, it would be kind of at the crook where it turns in the corner right there near Mississippi. So kind of the mid east area right there. So it is huge, as you can see. It is 96 feet tall, and it is 53 inches in circumference, and it is estimated to be about 1,500 years old.
How many?
1,500.
Wow.
Years old. It's very, very old tree. That's a slow growing deciduous conifer. It does lose its leaves in the winter. It's native to the Southeast United States. It's a very hardy tree, and it was very popular for construction many years ago, and a lot of it was clear cut. And it was used for building homes and cabinets, pirogues, which is a type of a boat canoe, if you're not familiar with it. It's a very hardy wood, again, as I told you. It contains an oil, it's called cypressine, and that resists rot, and it's great for building things in humid environments such as we have here. The humidity is so high in Louisiana all the time. The leaves do turn a kind of interesting reddish brown in the fall time, and before they fall off. It's monoecious. I think that means that the male, it's male and female, both. I think both trees produce both the purplish drooping clusters called catkins, and also those little conelets that you can see in the picture I provided up there on the right. It's a very interesting tree. It also makes knees if it's growing in or near the water. And people used to not understand what the knees were for, what was the purpose of them. But scientists are saying that they store starch that can be converted to glucose if needed by the tree.
Wow, that is so interesting. Just loving learning about this amazing tree. I love the term knee for a tree. That is so fun.
Yeah, and some people cut the huge knees and make tabletops with them, or coffee tabletops, headboards. It is used. They're beautiful when they're cut and polished. It's a gorgeous wood. It really is. It's in the family Cupraceae, I think is the way
Good
it's pronounced.
job. Yes, Cupraceae. So is that the cypress
Oh, okay. So all
family?
cypress
Yeah.
family. Okay. Okay. You know a lot more than I do about trees for sure. But it is huge. I mean, it's giant. It's got a hollow area there. If you look at the dark part of the tree down there, it's actually hollow and you can walk into the tree. Canada
Wow.
was closed for a little while due to the levels of the Mississippi River. I believe they've opened part of it now. When we get snow melt coming down the Mississippi River, sometimes it overflows its banks quite significantly. So the island is in a low area and it was closed for a while. I don't know if it's open right now and you can get to the tree or not. But it's quite interesting. I like this tree. It was made the official state tree of the state of Louisiana in 1963. And I have planted 4 in my yard. I had 3
wow.
thick trees when I bought my property, and I replaced the 3 with 4 cypress trees and 1 live oak. So, but I have them planted in my yard, which is well drained. So I will not have the cypress knees, which is not something you want in a yard, especially if you're trying to cut the grass. They would really interfere with mowing, because that's what my son said. Mom, I can't believe you're planting bald cypress. What are you going to do when they grow knees? And so I researched and I said they shouldn't, because my yard is well drained. So I shouldn't have that issue at all.
Oh, how fun. Oh, yeah. I love that one. That was so fun to draw. So what I want to do is show that this is a human. I don't really have space to like add the human here. But this little human figure, let's just do a little stick figure.
That's a good idea.
Give him a hat. Holy cow. Now you get an idea of how big this is. Wow. So how tall, let's see, let's look at the
96 feet.
96 feet. Thank you.
And it's 53 feet in circumference.
Inches.
No, feet.
Feet. I got it wrong. Oh my heavens. Look at that. Holy cow. There. And it's often used for boat building.
Yes, pirogues. Years ago, they used it to build pirogues and also homes. We still have homes standing that are hundreds, very, very old, that were built with cypress. I don't know that it ever rots, but and also cabinet, tree, and furniture.
Beautiful. And it grows knees.
If it's in the water, if it's near the water or in the water. It actually grows in water. If you go across the Atchafalaya Basin bridge, it's very long. It's miles and miles long. You can see the cypress trees growing, in water, and the knees. It's kind of unique to this area of the United States.
What do the knees do?
They store starch.
Right, you said that. Got it.
That's okay. All right. I find the cones interesting. It's a unique kind of cone in the sense that it doesn't look like pine cones. I would say it does sort of, but it has its own unique shape and the color. It's kind of a grayish green. In some areas, almost whitish, and then it's darker.
Are they waxy? They look a little waxy.
Yeah. Yes. They probably have some of that citrusine oil in them, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, right.
That,
That's a good point.
that is in the wood. Um, you're such a great artist, Roseanne.
Oh, no. It's all about just kind of, you just want to capture the essence of this,
Mhm.
and also just have fun and relax, and once I
Yeah,
stop thinking about, oh my gosh, it has to be perfect, I have a lot more fun and get
you're right.
get more
You're right.
time.
Yeah, I used to do watercolor painting, and I still do sometimes. And the best paintings I've made is when I just got thoroughly lost in the painting. If
Exactly.
yeah, but thinking about it too much or trying to get the right color, I usually was very dissatisfied with the results.
Last week, trying to do these 8 trees in 15 minutes. So that helps kind of make you focus on.
True, pushes you along.
Yeah. I'm using very textured paper here, so it's think it's bleeding. Uh I definitely am getting a lot more bleeding. But very, very different paper than I usually use, but that's okay.
Mhm. So you don't do you put these accordion folded uh, oh shoot, things we've done anyway into your nature journal? Do you tape them
Yeah,
in?
I taped them right in. I can show you.
Oh, that's what I've been doing. I've just
Yep,
been
I
taping.
just tape them right in. I keep some in my journal, in a
Ah,
little piece of in an envelope. Um,
yeah, and I've been putting the maps under my accordion folds.
oh, that is a great idea. Didn't even think of that.
And just fold, I fold it to make it fit.
So I'm gonna let that dry because it's getting kind of wonky on me. But that's a fun one. Fun. Oh, thank you so much for sharing this. I just loved it.
Well, thank you for including it. I appreciate that.
What a cool tree. So many wonderful trees. Oops, this might just remind me when my focus gets wonky. I like the way the iPhone does the color better, but it likes to jump on focus. So I'll have to come in and fix these when it's done drying. It's very wet right now. And then I can add some grass at the bottom. I think I have like 1 minute. Let me add some grass.
Mhm. Yeah, the grass is very lush. Pretty much everywhere you go in Louisiana.
Yeah, I noticed that when we used to pass through Louisiana once a year when we would drive back east, and yeah, oh my goodness, it's so different than our desert.
It's a very different climate from Arizona. Definitely, probably opposites.
Exactly.
I have driven through Arizona a few times. I thought I'd taken long road trips because I've driven from here to California, North California twice, and I drive to Pennsylvania often, almost yearly. But driving 4,000 miles, you beat me. I like it.
That'll be fun.
It'll be a blast. I think you'll love it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much again. And here's
Okay.
Cindy's page, and wonderful. So you can get all this information later on the recording, which of course I will share. But thank you for so much great information. I love your sketch. Great data. It's just fantastic. You really captured the cone and the knees. I didn't add the knees. That's fun too. All right. Oh, ha! the next one loaded itself. Jeannie is taking us to, we are going back to the North American West, and a fabulous tree, one of our most common, most important trees, the ponderosa pine. One of my favorite trees. And we are going, I just love the shape of them, and their cones are beautiful. And Jeannie, if you're here, do you feel like telling us a little bit
Mhm.
about this tree?
I'd be happy to. I love the ponderosa. I haven't planted any. I live in Tucson in Oro Valley. There are ponderosas near here. If you go up the mountain, up into the Catalinas, there are some stands of ponderosa, but the stand that I'm most familiar with is around the Flagstaff area. And it's one of the largest stands, I think, in the world. It's quite beautiful. It's widely distributed in North America. It's from the Pacific coast to the Rockies, even in the Plains states. But I think it's best here in Arizona. It does go into Mexico. An endangerment is that fire will kill the seedlings, and we are having so many fires that it's not a good thing. We have a fire going near Tucson right now.
I just heard that.
Yeah, I think it's around Benson. I
Yeah,
heard that on the news last night.
yeah, they closed the road down to Sonoyta.
Yeah, that was what I heard. Yeah. They grow up to 150 feet tall, 30 feet wide. And there have been some that have been, let's look, 258 feet. It's of the Pinaceae family. Let's see what else. They're pyramidal when they're young, but then branches break off and they become very irregular, and with these wonderful spaces and clumps, it makes them really fun to draw. Let's see what else. The bark is beautiful. It's a dark reddish, and it gets more orange russet with age. And it's a very important habitat for many creatures. Its sap is used for glue, rosin, turpentine, and it has been used medicinally by indigenous tribes. As a pine, its needles are in pairs, and sometimes there are 3 pairs per fascicule. I'm not sure I'm saying that right.
That sounds good.
Oh, good. I try to do this. I do more training on cactus than trees, but yeah, this
You're a
has been really,
docent for desert plants at the Ponderosas. A little bit out
yeah.
of
But anyway, I just think it's a super tree.
There used to be huge examples of them in the Mogollon Rim area before we did a lot of
Exactly.
logging. Yeah, they were just enormous. Have you ever, so the sap and then also there's a very distinctive smell. Have you ever smelled, stuck your nose up onto a ponderosa pine in the deep summer when it gets nice and hot in August and take a good sniff, and it smells just like vanilla?
No, I have not done that. That
It's
sounds
fun.
like a good
Yeah.
try.
When I visit Mount Lemon, in the summer, you'll see me up there sniffing trees.
Well, maybe we'll run into each other, except you're going to be in Alaska.
Oh, we are.
I'm going to be here.
Yeah. So the vanilla smell is due to a substance called terpenes.
Oh, excellent. I didn't know that.
So I'm hoping all of you listening will go out and find a ponderosa pine and sniff it. Well, it's got to be really hot. How tall are these, Jeannie? These average about.
These, wait a second, let me see here. They get very tall. They're normally about 150 feet tall and 30 feet wide. There have been some in the wild that have grown up to 258 feet.
Wow.
And they live for hundreds of years. So that was what I found out.
Nice. And let's see, they are, was it important? They're important for.
They're important for habitat for so many different creatures. I didn't list them at all.
Yeah,
And
like the Abert squirrel and birds,
bird, yes. I
insects.
didn't write. Here, this is something I forgot to say. They provided wood for the canoes used by Lewis and Clark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that I thought was fun. That was my fun fact. And the sap has been used for glue, rosin, and turpentine. And I guess that's the vanilla smell. And it's been used medicinally by different indigenous tribes.
Nice. Oh, that's a great one. I forgot to leave room maybe to do the cone. I love their cones.
Hi, there's a question in the chat. Is this the one with jigsaw puzzle bar?
Good
No, I don't
question.
think so. I think that's another tree.
Yeah, I don't think so. It does have very patterned bark for sure. Who's up in Flagstaff right now? I can verify that.
No, I think there's another tree though that I've heard about that's a jigsaw puzzle. But I can't remember. My mind gets sometimes boggled down with botanical names and such.
Yeah.
So
I'm Sue. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah,
Maybe
Sue,
not.
you can. You're up in Flag. I
Oh.
saw that.
Yeah, I'm up in Flagstaff. You know, as they say
neat.
as they get older, they turn that orange rush that you were talking about.
Right,
And
right.
sometimes those big pieces tend to look a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle because they're black on the edges between all of the bigger plates.
Okay.
And they have little interesting pieces that come off of the bark when
That's neat.
when they're young. And I've been up here almost 50 years, but I haven't heard it called a jigsaw puzzle tree, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what people would say about it.
Nice.
There is actually another question. Jerry is asking how many needles to a bunch?
Oh, good question. I think you covered that, Jeannie.
I say usually pines are two, they come in pairs, but this it said there are three pairs
Or
per
a set of
fascicule.
three, yeah.
Set of 3 pairs per fascicule.
They can
one of the
vary,
ways to
can't they?
needles come in pairs. It's one of the ways I've memorized which is which in
I
the
think a number of the pines up in our area have like 3s and 5s.
fascicules, okay, which I guess is what makes the bunch.
Yeah,
So,
and they can vary sometimes. Sue, do you find that as well?
Yes, they come in bundles of 3 and they kind of all knit together to make kind of a little circle. If you did if you cut them like did a dissection, they would kind of like be sort of like maybe a peace symbol without that middle one, like a third, a third, a third, a third. So
Uh-huh.
they all kind of bundle together.
Which green are you using, Roseanne?
I mix my own. So I start with kind of a messy mix of uh, manganese blue and yellow. And then I darkened it with xanthan to give it that little more of the pine.
Okay,
And now I
neat.
brightened it so that the sunlight on the top ones, I'm showing a little bit of
That's
that.
beautiful.
And it should dry nice.
Is this tree only found in the western US?
No, it's well, pretty much yes. It goes to the
Western North America.
western, yeah, because it goes into Canada and Mexico, but it's basically west of the Mississippi. So it goes into some of the plain states, but
Yeah, it's a pretty iconic Western forest tree. See, I'm like, I want to keep adding things and I should just stop, right? Use my own advice.
yeah.
Oh.
Can I ask if
Mhm.
the trees around Flag are suffering from the pine beetle borer like they are in the Sierras?
Good question.
We had, yeah, we had a bad go of it for about 10 or 12 years ago, and they've been restoring themselves. There's a huge restoration institute associated with NAU, and they've tried all kinds of things to drive away the beetles, including rock music. Which
What?
was
Oh my heavens.
yeah, pretty funny, I thought. And then all sorts of more hard sciencey kind of things. But with the amount of water, they're really actually, yes, there's still some level of the drought that's affecting them, and the beetles come in when there's drought.
Oh yeah. We had a
So,
good year this year, so
I'd
that's
say from travels
Yeah.
in Colorado. Yeah, not as bad as
nice. Thank you so much, Jeannie. This was beautiful. I love your sketch and all that fantastic data. Again, we can all go back to this and add more data. Fire, interestingly, you mentioned fire. We've been following the Catalina Mountains and the Ponderosa Pine Forest on the top after the Bighorn fire in 2020. And there's basically parts of the very top where there are no trees left. It was such a hot, fast, scary fire.
Mhm.
So it's interesting to
Yeah.
see there's already some seedlings. So thank you.
We haven't gone up to the top of Mount Lemmon for a little bit, so
Yeah.
I think we're over.
Yeah, you should get up there. It's really beautiful right now. Okay, thank you, Jeannie. And now we are flipping around to the other side of the world again back to Australia. And thank you, Jerry. I saw you were here. Jerry, actually, yay. I love these trees, and this is in your neighborhood, is it not?
Yes, it is.
In California. So it's a popular ornamental, but it's native to Australia.
And yes, and I want to thank everyone who's made their presentations. You actually, you all put me to shame. I find myself now. I'm finally. How do I'm stuttering. You have revealed to me the essence of the journaling in a way that somehow or another has escaped me before. If you see that's my journal page, it simply says bottle brush. Despite the fact that I did some sleuthing and found out that this was that the bottle brush does indeed originate in Australia. We find them. I live in Brisbane, California.
Oh, that's
not
ironic.
Yeah, yes, yes, which is just south of San Francisco. You go over the San Francisco County line, and Brisbane is the first city, first town outside of San Francisco that you hit. And these bottle brush trees are all over the place. This particular one, I walked by many, many times in the morning, and making a note to myself, you need to capture this, you need to sketch this. And then one morning I came down the street in the opposite direction, the direction of the photograph, and it opened up for me in a way that I hadn't seen it before. Um, there's a large variety of bottle brush. This one, I can't tell you the Latin terminology, but it is,
I've got it there on the screen.
Yeah.
You were right. It is Callistemon rigidus, which it may have changed its name. They may have changed it to Melaleuca linearis. And so, but they're both mean the same stiff bottle brush tree. So that's on the screen, Jerry. We did grab that. You were right when you looked that up.
Right, right, and that's Roseanne. That's the first time that I've ever actually bothered to, or have been pushed to look up the name of a tree, beyond beyond its just simple common name. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I made Jerry go look it up. But don't worry about not taking notes yet. That's just all part of the process. I did look up a few facts that we can put up on the page shortly. What else did you notice about this tree that really struck you?
Well, what kept bringing me back to it, I love the bark, the kind of burrowed and furrowed uh, patterns in the bark, which tends to get a little shaggy as well. But you can see, I think from the photograph, that it's more stiff or more formed than it is shaggy. Also, the blossoms are a little different from some of the other trees that we have in our area. And in some of the earlier stages, you can see the brush individual. Yes, I guess we can in the photograph, individual bunches of brush. And so I kept coming back to that, as well as, and I don't have the correct terminology, but at the bottom end of the brushes, the brushes to be, or the buds, all of the lovely color, the pinks, and I don't know, for lack of better words, the kind of beige colors. And over the in other mornings, these colors change, and it goes from a light green to a beige, and then the highlights of pink begin to show up before the brushes actually burst out. So those are the things that kept drawing me to this tree, and wanting to get just a bit closer to it. Just we look at the bottle brush, and I know folks will say, "Oh yeah, that's a bottle brush," and just kind of just blow past it, if you will. But there's so much color and so many interesting things going on with the blossoms that it kept me coming back.
I agree. That bark is gorgeous, isn't it? And I've loved bottle brush trees since I was just a kid. I think my neighbor had one. And I think they're terribly fun. They're just such unlikely trees. So we're going to sketch and paint this, and then we can swap over to I did look up a few facts on it. We can do in a minute. But I'm going to throw some color in here, try to reserve some spots for all those little red. Probably do the red first. I'm going to do almost pure magenta and drop in just the tiniest bit of yellow. Oops, that wasn't tiny.
We've got a question about those flowers and that beautiful color, not exactly about the color, but do the flowers attract bees and butterflies? So cool, from Nani, if I spell or say your name right. So do the flowers attract bees or butterflies?
Have you noticed that on your walks, Jerry?
No, I'm afraid that I haven't.
Oh, so that'll be something so I suspect from knowing what we learned a little bit about Australian botany is that these are probably evolved to attract birds. They're probably have a lot of nectar, and I'm thinking the birds would get in there and stick their beaks way down in the nectaries, which are going to be at the base of that, and then the pollen's on the outside. It's going to get all over the bird's neck. That would be my guess, based on what we know about the biology.
Rosanna, it's Tina. My kid is joining us. Can you hear me?
You're cutting in and out. Say it again.
Sure. Karen's here. She had experience with bottle brush. She lived in California as well. So she was going to comment about the birds with the bottle brush.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's a wonderful hummingbird attractor. The hummingbirds love it. And this was down in Ventura, California. It was where I lived for 20 years. And bees as well, but mainly hummingbirds.
Yes, I imagine that's so. Songbirds originated in Australia, and so plants in Australia go all out to attract birds, and they're highly the nectar rich plants, and these have little tiny dots of yellow pollen. Oops.
Anne Marie has put bees in the chat, so I'm not sure if she means that it attracts bees or she's seen that too, but she really made it an exclamation. Bees, yeah.
Anne Maria says it's a bee happy plant.
Okay,
I'll just get on and I'll say, yeah, mine has tons of bees right now. I just got out and it's in full bloom. And the bees have come back to my yard, and the hummingbirds too, absolutely. But the bees are really prominent for mine.
And Anne Marie just responded with, yes, mine has tons of bees.
Perfect. I think that was Anne Marie talking, right? She's probably
it was.
She's trying to draw and talk at the same time. Discovering how hard that is.
Yeah, if somebody has trouble with their audio, you can put it in the chat and I'll try to catch it.
Let's see, time-wise. I have just a few minutes here. I'm trying not to obscure my flowers in my plant or my tree canopy. It's kind of hard to capture that kind of weeping look that it has. Try to see those branches that weep down like that. Nice, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jerry. That was so fun. I put you on the spot, I know, but that's okay. So I love it.
No, thank you. It was a learning experience. Thank you all.
Oh, it's perfect. The journaling, the way we do, adding I'm adding a few factoids right now. For example, just up to 3 meters, like 10 feet tall-ish. And the flowers, interestingly, grow off the branch ends. Oh, and here's something fun. Okay.
Deborah has asked, do the flowers bloom in clusters?
No, they grow on the branch ends. It looks like they are individual to an end of each little branch or branchlet. So it kind of looks like clusters. And then check this out. This is on my little cabinet of curiosities. That's what a bottle brush seed capsule looks like. All the little seeds were in here. I brought this back from Australia. Is that just beautiful?
Wow.
That's so cool.
I could sit and draw this for hours and hours. So that's on my little cabinet there. Okay.
It reminds me of a roller that you could put on clay.
Exactly. Oh, wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You could use it as a print to make prints or yeah. Okay. Oh, I have my little. So our next tree is brought to us by Jill, and we're going back to the American South. We're bouncing all over here. I'm getting whiplash. So what is it? Ooh, this one like really tickled me. The sassafras. I never, we all know that name, but I've never thought, what does a sassafras tree look like? And then Jill shared with us some really cool stuff about it has different leaf morphologies, 3 different shapes of leaves on one tree. Super cool, beautiful. And then if you're there, Jill, would you mind sharing with us while we sketch more about why you picked this tree and then what's cool about it?
Well, I discovered there were many trees I loved, and it was hard to pick which one to nominate, but this one is special. It is in the eastern US, not just the South, it goes up to Canada. And I first became acquainted with it when I was living in northern Indiana, and I was a volunteer trail guide at a county park. So we had naturalists teach us things that we in turn taught to school children. And I just fell in love with this tree, partially because of the interesting leaves, that it comes in 3 shapes, as you can see in the diagram, and all 3 shapes can be found on one branch. I don't know why there are different shapes, but it was fun to show the kids. There's just the plain oval shape, but then the middle one there, it looks like a mitten, and the one on the right looks like a ghost. And occasionally I'd pick up a leaf and draw 2 eyes in it so that the kids could see that it was a ghost. And I just thought that was very fun.
That is too fun.
And at the time in my grocery store, I could buy sassafras concentrate to make sassafras tea. This was in the 80s, early 80s, and I don't know if it's still available anymore, but it was just like a concentrate and then you added hot water. And it was really, I thought it was a very delicious herbal tea. And so sometimes I'd have a thermos and give the kids a little taste of the tea from the tree. And if anyone has had root beer originally was made with the roots of the sassafras tea.
Oh, wow.
Or
That is just
roots of the sassafras tree, excuse me. There has been some concern that it can cause liver damage. So I think it was in about 1960, they said, no, you can't use it commercially anymore for root beer. But I, read some stuff online that home brewers will still use sassafras. I think it may be how much sassafras you drink could cause
like all
problems.
things, it's moderation.
Yes, and it was used extensively by Native Americans, and I think that was the wood and medicinally. And when Europeans came, they were interested in possible medicinal properties. And this just fascinated me. In the early, was it 16th, 17th century, it was the largest import.
Sorry.
What you're doing, Roseanne.
I couldn't help it.
The largest import behind tobacco from North America to Europe, but they over harvested and it didn't last very, very long. The other thing I didn't know, but found in researching, is that it is an important ingredient in gumbo.
Oh, wow.
It is, it's filet powder.
Yes. I'll rub 1 second. Yes, it is used extensively here when we make gumbo. And the filet comes from the ground leaves. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So what does it taste like?
It tastes like gumbo filet. It's very different. It's not spicy at all. People think, oh, it's going to be hot or something, because it's in Louisiana, but it's not. It just enhances the flavor of your gumbo, is the best way I can describe it. It's not something you would sprinkle on rice and gravy or salad or anything like that. You'd use it only to make after you make your gumbo, then you add the filet.
Is it bitter? Is it a bitter type of?
No, not bitter at all. I can't describe the flavor. Just know it enhances gumbo.
I'm gonna have to go out and find some gumbo filet and try this.
Yeah, it makes it even better. But I don't use it in any other dishes. I only use it to make gumbo, and that's it. So thank you for including that.
Thank you, Jill. Anything else?
Let's see. It's not huge. That particular specimen's about 50 feet tall.
Okay, I'll be sure to have to write that in.
Mm-hmm. And to me, when I drank the sassafras tea, it did have sort of a vaguely root beer flavor, and I like root beer. So
okay, nice. It looks like a very beautiful tree as well.
Are the leaves always that kind of golden color?
That's a tree in autumn.
Okay, we'll be sure to write that down.
We've done so many green trees. I thought it would be fun to do an autumn tree.
I agree. What an interesting tree. So how common are they?
I used to see them frequently when we lived in Indiana. My daughter lives in Virginia. I find them in Virginia. Anybody else from the East see them?
I'm going to have to start looking when we go back east. Nice. I really like those. That's really a beautiful tree and so useful. And so who, do you ever wonder when you learn about when a plant, well, when anything, but plants, just that's what we're talking about now. When they're widely used, medicinally or as a food, who was the first person to brew up a tea from this root? Who thought, oh, I could, let's try that. And I find that early experimenting humans just fascinate me. Also, dried leaves adding to gumbo. What? How fun is that? Definitely going to have to try that. I had no idea.
Was it that many, centuries ago, they thought it might cure venereal diseases? I think they were desperate for cures. I don't think it does, but that was one theory at one time.
Interesting when you look at a lot of medicinal uses of plants, that is a very common one. I'm quite sure, after Europeans came to North America, it was a huge problem for our native people. There, what fun. I like that. These are fun. It's so much fun to be like drawing while someone else talks. I'm loving this. I'm going to do this differently next time. I'm going to make you guys do all the work. All right, where are we going? Oh, I've got Jill's page, which is beautiful. I love your colors. Oh my gosh, beautiful. And your leaves are so beautifully done. What did you use to do the resist, or did you use white? How did you get the white veins?
Oh, I used a white gel pen.
Nice. I'm going to have to go back and add that on mine. I like that. Love the way you did the shadows, and those leaves just pop off. I can tell that was one of the things you loved about this tree. Nice. What a beautiful, wonderful page. Just so rich and full of information. Oh, I need to write 50 feet tall.
So would that be the typical tree in the summer?
No, this is an autumn tree.
Oh, even yours with the bright yellow?
Yeah, it's supposed to be, it was a tree in the fall, so it's changing. But I see somebody in the chat said that they see a lot of color variation in the fall with sassafras.
Oh, so like yellow, orange, all over lots of different color variations.
Well, whoever put that in would need to tell us.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Well, thank you. Where are we going next? Let's see. We're still staying in North America and heading back west. And this time we're going to have our tree from Susan Wright, who currently is in Flagstaff, but she journaled Palo Verde trees. And one of your photos that you sent was of the Mexican Palo Verde blossom, which I find one of the most beautiful, and they're still blooming right now, interestingly. But there are 3 species, and her journal page is really fun. I just love this journal page. We're going to come back to this and study it because it's got so many fun things about it. But one of the things when you travel in the Arizona, especially in April and May, is the whole like entire hillsides, desert swaths are just yellow, right, Susan?
All right. Hey, thanks. Yeah, it's interesting that when Jeannie from Oro Valley was talking, she did Ponderosa up here where I live in Flagstaff.
true.
And now I'm in Flagstaff talking about the Palo Verde. So thanks, Jeannie, for sharing our species. I do love the Palo Verde. I think
As do I. It's wonderful.
it
Thank you.
really, really captivated me. And I think for me, it kind of got highlighted each year because I have been a fourth grade teacher and we do Arizona studies. And it became a Arizona state tree in 1954. So it was one of those I talked about each year with the students. And one of the most interesting things, I think, and as Roseanne is drawing the bark, one of the adaptations in the desert is it photosynthesizes in the trunks, in the leaves, in the branches, and it means green stick in Spanish. So this chlorophyll fills every part of the tree. The pictures you have are when it's in bloom, and oh yeah, it's still in bloom now, Roseanne.
So I noticed that the foothills and the blue are pretty much done, and they've got their seeds coming out now. But I noticed a lot of the Mexican Palo Verde are still blooming right now.
Oh, good. Yeah. When I did my little the recent looking up I did, there was the foothill, the two main species that are native were the foothills Palo Verde, and they found those more mostly in the Rocky Slope area, and then the blue Palo Verde, which grew near water sources. And the trunk can grow up to be 30 feet. They're used a lot in landscaping because they're pretty low maintenance as far as needing water. They have a root system that will reach out and gather water. Yeah, talking about the seeds, if that's happening right now, there's a harvesting just before monsoons. It's been such weird weather here in Arizona that we kind of had, at least here in northern, we've had a pre-monsoonal season. So starting to harvest the seeds, you can eat the pod that's green. The seed is real tender. The peas eat like edamame, and they're a little
do. They're
sweet.
delicious. I just had some.
Oh, I've never eaten them. I'd like to do that sometime. That'd be interesting. The seeds get sprouted too, and apparently you can eat the spring flowers. So it's certainly Seri Indians in the northern Mexico region, and then also the Tohono O'odham. They have used this traditionally for years.
Very
yeah. The pollen is sticky and heavy, so they don't travel like in the wind really well, as far as like being able to reproduce in different areas. Contrary to popular belief, they really don't cause allergies. Unlike the ponderosa up here in Flagstaff, oh my gosh, everything is completely covered in yellow pollen right now.
I noticed that when we were up there in May.
Oh man, it's even gotten worse. And I have a scratchy throat just because of that. And it's been something else this year, particularly. But with the Palo Verdes, people that have allergies do flock to the Southwest to kind of be cured of that. And the Palo Verde looks like, because it's so yellow in the springtime with those blossoms, that the allergies don't come from that. when I was out and about in the winter, we've now had the luxury of, because I have retired from teaching, coming to Fountain Hills area, and we were there in the springtime last year with the Palo Verde, and just the amount of bees in that tree near Lake Pleasant, where we were for a few days, was just outstanding. I mean, we couldn't believe how many many were
tons
there.
of this, every like native bees and honeybees, and oh my gosh, it's outrageous. It's so fun.
Yeah, yeah. The branches, let's see how high, well, I guess it goes 30, yeah, up to 30 feet, but generally they're around 15 feet. But the branches are overarching, and even in the picture you see there, and then in my little drawing I did last spring, that's a nurse tree for saguaros and all sorts of other bushes. It's a habitat there for
Describe
animals in the
what
area as
nurse
well.
tree means for people.
Oh yeah, a nurse tree is a shady area. A shade tree grows, and then because of the adaptations needed in the desert, other seedlings will root and take to growing beneath a tree. And a saguaro, as we've seen, I think we did one of those on one of your other
You did,
lessons.
yep.
Yeah, they grow like 150 feet high, and they'll be towering above the Palo Verde, but the Palo Verde acts as like the mother tree for that.
Protects it from various, like too much heat and exposure when it's young.
Yeah, the harsh environment is mellowed by having the Palo Verde kind of parent and take care of what is
Yep, I've got a baby saguaro in our yard right now. Under both a Palo Verde and a mesquite. It's kind of shared. It's interesting.
Yeah, mesquite acts as nurse trees as well. And yeah, I find it really fascinating that these trees photosynthesize. I mean, that just to me is just like, wow, really, the whole system is working all of the time in every part of the tree.
So anyone look up or know why? What do you notice about it's particularly the Mexican Palo Verde, which is native to the Sonoran Desert, comes up in Tucson. That the red markings on the banner petals. Anyone know the story behind that?
No, I've never heard of that.
Have you noticed that?
I don't think I've noticed it either.
I didn't. I grew up here and didn't even pay attention, right? There's the right term, pay attention.
Yeah.
And then I noticed my Mexican Palo Verde tree in my yard here had these red, not always, but some of the flowers had red markings on the banner petals. And I found out that after the flower is pollinated, the red shows up on the banner petal, and bees can recognize that as, oh, this one's done. There's no more nectar. This one's starting to grow its seed pods. It's done. Move on. Go find a flower that's not pollinated.
Oh, so wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's really cool. So it's like a flag that sends out a message.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is. It's directing the bee to go find my other flowers that haven't been pollinated, so that I get more seeds.
Well, Roseanne, I have a new admiration for being able to talk and paint at the same time. This is like really hard to do.
Sometimes I wonder, it's like, I'm all over the map.
I'm wondering myself. How in the world?
It's fun to have somebody else talk.
Yeah, I can imagine, because you've done such a nice job for all these lessons that taken us to just some really fascinating situations with individual trees and then like whole species. It's really a fun
Yeah.
thing.
So I'm writing a few facts of so it's one of the Palo Verdes is the state tree. And I don't think they say which species of Palo Verde is the state tree, so we'll just say it's the state tree. I don't think, do you know if it's one specific?
I don't, until I did this reading, and even
It's
after
actually the
teaching it,
blue Palo Verde.
Oh, okay.
the blue.
Blue.
It's the blue Palo Verde.
Okay.
I'm a docent at Tohono Chua,
Okay.
and
Oh,
that was what
nice.
I learned. Yeah, the blue Palo Verde officially. But some people can't tell them apart anyway, so Palo Verde works.
Yeah, the blue
Yeah.
and the foothills can be hard to tell apart until you kind of meet them and get to know them, and then you'll be like, oh yeah,
And
they look completely
their
different.
leaves, their little leaves are different.
They're very different. And the Mexican Palo
flowers are
Verde,
bigger.
the Mexican leaf it's like this. It's like very, very long, and it has all these little the leaflets are like that on them, where the other one is quite, the foothills and the blue have very short little compound leaves. This is a huge long leaf. They can be 6-10 inches long. So yeah. Well, we better keep moving. Where are we? Oh, we have 2 left. And where are we going? I'm still in North America. Favorite trees. I love this tree. This is so fun. This is brought to you by 2 people did this tree, which I thought was significant. Tina England Colwell and Judy Doyle are bringing us the Douglas fir. And Tina is introducing us to this particular individual from Deception Pass State Park in Washington, about 850 years old. And look at the formation of this tree. It's unbelievably beautiful. That is not what they normally look like. This one's had a hard life. I'm going to show you this Judy's sketch is much more your typical shape of a Douglas fir. But I just loved also Tina's. So we'll sketch the Tina's. I'm going to sketch Tina's Doug fir. We call them Doug fir down here, and the cone, and we can see the leaves as well. And our Judy and Tina, Judy and Tina, are you guys both here? Judy, I saw.
Yes, we are. My internet may be a little unstable, so
Okay.
but I would love to describe the tree a little bit.
Would love
We
it.
found
Yeah.
this at the Deception Pass State Park. Deception Pass State Park in near Anacortes, Washington. It's on the beach, Bee Island, and they have a
Uh-oh.
to climb on it.
If
The root system is what is. Oh,
if there's internet
hear
and
me?
you want to put it in the chat, I'd be happy to speak or read what you put in if there's a glitch, because you did cut out. But
Just keep
Okay.
going.
What I'll do is turn off the video.
Turn off video.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm turning off okay, turn off video, and then the root system goes to the left. It's amazing, and that's why I drew it. I went ahead and drew with the root system.
Oh, we are losing you, Tina.
Okay, so the notes that are on the drawing, if you want to just read those.
Okay, we'll swap to that. I think we're all going to enjoy this incredible tree. It's easy to get kind of lost in this, so I'm sort of I'm going to just sort of pull out the kind of the main branches. I don't know if I can, it would take hours to kind of get this all right, but we can. How when did you last visit this tree?
Recently, if you can hear Karen, who's sitting with me today, we went there in actually the 1st of June. It was the 1st of June, and that's where the recent pictures are from. And I Roger and I went there camping and saw it then. There's a state park camp. So that's when I first saw it. Each time I go, I think I see so much more of the tree and how much further it is. And including the roots that I can see, it's approximately 75 feet with this root that goes way off to the west there. And I don't know if anybody can still hear me, but you see that the needles really
Yeah, we got most of what you're saying. Just big folks don't know Tina's out camping right now, which is awesome. She's dialing in from a camp. So I think that's really wonderful that you're joining us that way. So
I can fill in some additional information
perfect.
about
This is Judy, so who also
the Douglas fir. It's the iconic Northwest tree. That's probably why we both picked it. The tallest was measured at 416 feet, which is as tall as the coastal redwood, but its average is about 250 feet and about 5 feet in diameter. Its favorite home is the temperate rainforest, which we have a lot of here. And I encountered it first at 12 River National Wildlife Refuge, and then now at Lewis and Clark National Historical Park. The trees there were planted 125 years ago to replicate what it was like when Lewis and Clark was there. So after 125 years, they do somewhat resemble what that is like. So it's a Douglas fir forest with Sitka spruce, hemlock, lots of other kinds of conifers. The tree's a conifer. They're usually very tall. They're fairly fire resistant. And they like it when there's the low level fires that help clear out the stuff, because their seeds need sunlight. And although they drop a lot of seed pods, there are a lot of little cones that hold the seeds. They don't all come to fruition because there isn't enough sunlight. The other species all love it because they like the canopy and they can grow under it quite well. Its needles are usually 3/4 to 1 inch and a quarter. And they're out on the branch. The bark is usually a reddish brown. The tree itself is home to fungus, insects, and things like that. And it is an evergreen. It's in the pine family. It's used primarily for to make wood beams, because it's very tall and straight. Unlike this example, which was shaped by the coastal winds where it was. So it has a very different look than the typical tree. The tree also houses, in certain areas where there's enough of them, the red vole. And the red vole is a little teeny vole that lives all its life in the top of the tree. And
Oh
it
my
never comes
God.
down, never touches the ground. All its nutrients, all its water comes from the needles. And they have a little nest up there. And when they get enough family members, then they move more to other trees in the area. And it's very cool.
Oh, wow.
The cone is very distinctive. And you can tell it from any other fir out there or pine.
Yes.
It's got what looks like, see these little tails, back end and the tail of a mouse or a vole. And the story goes that we tell the kids is there was a big fire and all the little mice ran to the tree and up the tree to try to survive. And they stayed there. The fire blew through. The tree was undamaged. Some of the mice ran back down into the forest. And in honor of all the little mice and voles that survived the fire, the Douglas fir created their cones so they always looked like the little mice were hiding under each one of their little scales.
Oh my gosh, that's the best story ever. I'm never going to forget that one. That's lovely.
And as a naturalist at Tuolumne River National Wildlife Refuge, we took the kids out on the trail and we had a really huge Douglas fir right by the river, kind of standing by itself. And so we always got to tell the story and the kids loved it.
Oh my gosh. I
Yeah,
love it.
really a great story.
You guys hear?
We've got a question. Can you make yummy tea from the needles? Do you know?
I don't know that.
Anyone try?
Haven't heard of it.
I mean, spruce tea is common, so I don't know.
I have tried the tea and I nibble on them when I'm on a hike because they're high in vitamin C.
Oh, nice. Oh, this was so fun. Thank you both for picking, a tree. I love the fact that we've added trees that are what we think of as, common or ordinary and maybe we see all the time, but we don't. It's nice to call attention to these special trees.
And I'm getting an answer to that because it was me who thought it was a question, and actually it was a statement from Deborah that yes, you can make the tea, it looks like, from the needles.
Wonderful. Oh, how fun. Super fun. I'm really loving this water-soluble charcoal. And we can take a look. That's really good information. I can read some of Tina's as well, and Judy covered a lot. The bark, layers of darker brown bark are interspersed with a lighter color, corky material. And that's helps contribute to the fire resistance. It's the female cones that are pendulous with the bracts. And the seeds are obviously an important food source. We talked about, I think, for small mammals who consume an estimated 65% of the annual seed crop. Wow. And Native Americans use the bark and resin and needles for herbal treatments. We now just heard other people use it as a tea. And I love your depiction of this tree. It's very difficult to draw sometimes from photos, and I think Tina's depicted the wonderful quirkiness of this particular tree, just pulling that out. And Judy's done a beautiful job pulling out the details. There's the cone with the bract. She highlighted that the needles are flat but kind of have a profile that looks like a lozenge, and that's real diagnostic. And I love your kind of blow up of that, and it's the Oregon State tree, yay! And the red vole, it just blows my mind. I need to learn more about that. That is just too much fun.
The Oregon Department of Wildlife, I think, has a video of the vole in the nest. And
okay, I totally need to go look that up. I know Abert squirrel are very dependent on ponderosa pine, but they don't spend their whole life. I mean, they build their nests in them and live in them, but they certainly leave the tree. That is just mind-blowing. Nature is so amazing. Now we're moving to our final tree. This is tree number 80. Oh my gosh. When I wrote that down, I thought, oh wow. Over a year of doing trees, and this is number 80. And this particular specimen is in Germany, and it's brought to you by the tree maven Patricia Lorenas, who, unlike I think a lot of you who are here have taken classes from Patricia on trees. She does an amazing job. That's kind of, I challenged her drawing trees, and she was, in fact, just, I think, arrived home last night, or she might not even be home yet. You're not here, are you, Patricia? I didn't think you would make it. No. The plane tree, Platanus. And this is interesting. This is the London plane tree, the European plane tree. Beautiful specimen here. They believe it's a cross between the Occidental and Oriental Platanus trees. It's could have been a cultivar. They actually don't know, but it's extremely common throughout Europe now. Beautiful, related to our sycamore that we know here, with that beautiful leaf shape. But just look at the trunk and the way this branches. I love that. And Patricia does these beautiful renderings with colored pencil, and the water soluble charcoal. I just love. And you can see how she did this sketch here, and just love it. So I think we want to sketch that, and let's all just kind of enjoy the fact that this is our, I don't want to say it's our last tree, because I think we're all in love with trees now, but it's the last tree of this session. And let me get the leaf and the pod there. Okay. Now I wanted to do this on like a whole huge page. This is like a zoom in part of the tree. And I just love the shapes here. And that's what I want to focus on. And then we'll do some of the facts in a bit. beautiful tree. Kind of fun just to have just to zoom in on part of this. Wonder what caused those bowls to develop. Anyone know tree-wise what causes those types of formations? This is the plane tree. We know sycamores here. And the way you write it when it's what they think is a cross or hybrid is to put the cross in there. And their seed pods are very look exactly like the Platanus wrightii that I know, the Arizona sycamore, and birds just love. Those are all little seed heads. And I'm drawing it about life size. You should have these in California, all over, I think, North America.
Roseanne,
Yeah.
I looked up and it says on a website that burrows on trees, on their trunks, large knobby growth on a tree trunk or a branch are developed as a protective response to tree disease
Oh, okay.
in bark. I don't know if that's specific to sycamores or not. I did ask about sycamores, but it didn't say.
I've seen it on other trees. It just looks like this tree got attacked, didn't it, by something. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking it was a protective mechanism of some sort. So perhaps this is correct.
What a beautiful, beautiful tree that is. See if I can make some pretty brown paint And let's see if that will blend with the charcoal or the graphite. Trying to maintain some of that texture. Ooh, sort of got that one wrong, but that's okay. I'll cover that with some leaves. I kind of made a blork there. That's okay. Let's see. That beautiful seed head. And then we'll look up some facts. Let's see. Nice. Well, let's look up some plane tree facts. Oh, I love the detail there. So this is possibly a hybrid of Platanus orientalis and Platanus occidentalis, or a cultivar of orientalis. They're not sure. So they're large deciduous, up to 65 to 100 feet. I'll write that down. Or 20 to 30 meters. And the maple-like leaves are very distinctive. I love the leaves, are beautiful. And the seeds, the round seeds, are highly prized by birds, especially around here. The goldfinches love them. And there, okay, well, I just want to color in my happy 80 here. Oops. Because, oh my gosh. Hard to believe, isn't it? It just went so quickly, it seemed. Then I look back and we started in April 2022. All right, number 80. Yay. We have one more thing going now, and that is, as I told you, those of you who were gracious enough to send in your trees, I entered you into a drawing for a $50 gift certificate to my shop. Books, field arts. Let me know if, well, we'll talk about what's available. I have things available. I'll restock the shop, but let's find out who won. I did a random drawing based on the names, and the winner of our $50 gift certificate in celebration of Around the World in 80 Trees is Tina England Colwell. So Tina, I don't know if you fell off the call or if you're still here. I hope you are. No, she fell off the call. No. Okay, well, I will email Tina, or maybe she can hear us. She just can't respond. She was here earlier.
Yay, Tina.
Yay, Tina. And thank you, everyone. So as always, I really appreciate that you are here and that you came, those of you who came to so many of them. I just so appreciate this. Has been such an honor and so fun. I'm putting in the chat our little tip jar, which is always appreciated. Let's turn off the screen share now and go back here. I'm gonna switch to gallery view. Those of you who are willing to hold up your what we've worked on today as our final Around the World in 80 Trees. Let's get that on video if we can. Turn on your videos. Yay. I really like the way my Palo Verde came out. What's your favorite? Nice. Oh, look at that. Nell, I love your deception pass. Oops, upside down. Yay. Oh my gosh. Jerry, nice one. Love it. Oh, Jill, Sue, so much fun. Marcia, Randy, Betsy, yay, Betsy. Thank you. Sue, Judy, yay, Judy. Oh, wonderful. I just love it. Too much fun. All right. We should put in the chat, vote on what subject we should do next, because we can't stop, right? This is just too much fun, exploring the world by species. We learned so much. I just learned so much. I can't believe how much fun I had too. I'm thinking insects. We've got flowers. Ooh, cactus. Ooh, that could be fun. I thought, okay, well, let's really stretch our drawing skills. Let's do birds. By the end of it, we'd all be great at drawing birds, wouldn't we? Nice. Insects, cactus, rocks. That's so funny. My husband said you should do rocks because, I mean, I collect rocks, as you guys probably know. Yeah. I've got rocks all around me. Rocks would be fun too. We could learn geology at the same time. That might be fun. That's kind of my one of my goals is to get fluent in geology. Because I
That'd be awesome.
Did someone say that would be awesome? This is
Yeah, I think stone geology. Oh, that'd be awesome, especially because it's so different around the world, right?
That's true. And then we could learn about what is under the earth, like what is it that's supporting all of life, right? Ooh.
And also maybe going back to how Pangea split it apart. So not only how they're different, but how some of them were once close together, then they split apart, and then they have that same sameness.
Oh, you just dropped yeah, I could see actually starting with Pangea and finding bits around the world of, okay, this is
just imagine you have like the Canadian Shield, you have the desert, you have the cliffs of Dover. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. Okay, everybody's stuck. I can feel the buzz right now.
I mean, and then with plants like agaves and aloes, the grew in other ways when Pangea
Yeah, plant communities.
That's just one example.
That's true, because we could drill down going region by region and then look at, okay, well, if you have this type of soil like limestone, that's where you're going to find, ocotillos here in the Sonoran Desert, for example. And there's got to be tons of, well, obviously there's other examples like,
yeah, what's growing in the Dolomites then, for example.
Yeah, a volcano in Hawaii. It could be like a shipwreck in this English Sea.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's fun. And Marcia just gave me an idea.
Or
Why stay only on Earth? We could go to Mars or the moon.
Here in Brisbane, California, I hike up to the top of San Bruno Mountain, called the mountain, 1,000 feet high, sandstone, but we find seashells.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So how amazing is that?
Yeah. Geology would be cool.
Oh my gosh. Someone's asking about tip jar again. I'm going to put that in. I have to talk and type at the same time. Mars blueberries. Yep. I did Mars blueberries. Aren't they awesome? I'm looking for them. I'm just going to copy and paste the tip jar. Sorry. Here we go. Someone's faster than I am. There we go. That way I don't type it wrong. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Oh, there we go.
There was that show that I loved it. The guy who does the coast, and he's gone around like the coast of England. He's gone around the coast of Australia. It's amazing.
No, I'll look that up. Oh my gosh, we didn't even think about the oceans.
Yeah.
Oh, we could go under the water. Okay, well, we've got enough for the next 10 years.
Yes.
Okay.
We could go to one Corsica. I went to the one island of Corsica and went around on a moped, and every coast was different. It changed from black to white sands to cliffs. It was amazing. Wow. One little island.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, and then of course I'm gonna have to make paint from all of it, right? So Oh my gosh. Thank you, everyone. I'm sad, I'm like, oh, this is kind of a
Roseanne,
I feel kind of sad.
you could include pigments, making pigments from rocks too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can't help it. It just happens. My
Yeah.
husband's gonna crack up because that's what he said. Oh, you should totally pick rocks. I'm like, oh no, nobody's gonna be interested in rocks.
Little did you know.
Oh my gosh, how fun. Okay, well, thank you all. I don't want to say goodbye, but don't forget, let me put the link in the chat. I've got the new private sharing area on my website where you can post your pictures in the section on trees. It's my community forum. I'm going to give you the link here. It's free. It's social media, anti-social media, because it's private. There's no data mining and no annoying ads and spam. Put your images from today in there's a drawing trees section. Just look for drawing trees and share. I will start a thread right now, and it'll be up in just a moment on today's session. So we'll post them in that. Look for that. So I'm so grateful you all came. Thank you for making this so much fun.
Thank you. Roseanne, are you working on a new book, you said?
Yes, on it's called Wild Color.
Okay. How long will it take before you have it out? Do you know?
I'm hoping spring 2024.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll be looking for it.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, everybody. And I'll look for my posts on as we go up to Alaska. We'll be posting on our adventure. All right.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Safe travels.